Well, hey, y'all.
Hello.
May the 4th be with you.
Honey, guess what?
Oh,
I love you.
a little higher. A little
Oh,
higher.
wait. I love you.
A little higher. Get up, higher.
I get up. There we
I know.
go.
As you can tell,
we
we're...
couldn't resist.
Oh, my gosh. I'm a Star Wars geek. Come on.
Yes.
As if for you non-Star Wars people out there, if
Oh,
you can't
gosh.
tell, we're in the cockpit of the Millennium
Oh,
Falcon.
brother. Here we go.
My favorite video. Or my favorite vehicle of all Star Wars. I don't care, bar none.
Oh, I love it. So, hi, I'm Colleen.
I'm Jonny.
And welcome to Backcountry Couples.
In outer space.
Yeah, oh, that is a whole new realm that we can get into. Oh, a whole new... Is it hyperspace?
Yes.
Is it called hyperspace?
It's hyperspace is the way of travel. Yeah.
I don't know.
She's still a newbie.
I'm new to the whole sci-fi thing, just saying. But anyways, super excited to have you here. Happy Thursday.
Pre-Friday.
Happy pre-Friday.
Our Friday.
It is our Friday. We are in episode 20 of season 2 of Backcountry Couples.
Our last one.
And it's our last episode of the season.
Season 2.
It is for season 2. That is true. Oh, Tanya just said coming from a galaxy far, far away. That's it. She's
Perfect.
got it.
That's my girl. See, someone knows something about Star Wars around here.
So like John said, May the 4th be with you. And I think that's been kind of fun. And there's been a lot of Instagram stuff going on about that, which is
and of course, all you know what's going down this weekend.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Beatdown.
Wait a minute. Let's talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
All right. So, first of all, we had a fabulous weekend last weekend. We were in Indiana. We were in the Indiana YouTuber meetups, and it was
we were in Hoosierville.
Such a blast.
Literally, right down the road from
and
IU.
I did kind of write some notes. I don't want to forget anybody, but there's so many people I want to thank. So first I want to thank Chris from That Hiking Guy.
That THG.
Yeah. And what I kind of coined the Indiana hospitality team.
Right. Some guy named Carlson.
And everybody else. So for an amazing event this past weekend. It was really amazing. It was incredible to meet all the people in person, not just on YouTube, not just on Instagram.
Oh my gosh.
And everyone's the real deal.
It's like, okay, we're not going to name any more names because
we can't.
If we forget one,
I don't want to forget.
Chastise.
Right.
It'll be over with. Be like, cut them off. But we're not going to do that because we loved everybody there and it was awesome to meet everybody.
And we are going to see everybody again in October. But there are a few kind of special thanks things that I think that I want to kind of talk about. Obviously, we just said, obviously, to Chris, That Hiking Guy. So thank you for that. DMS Adventures. Stop it.
What, the ice cream?
So Mark and his 2 kids did an ice cream bar. There was like 50 people there.
I was good.
I'm talking sprinkles.
I did not have any ice cream. I was the good kid.
It was so amazing.
I kept to my diet.
So
my style of diet, should I say?
Someone
was dirty.
Really, whatever. That was amazing. So we want to thank them. We want to thank All Things Outdoors, Jeremy. One for the chili dogs. So he did chili dogs for 50 people. Like, come on. That's crazy.
It tastes like grandma's like a warm hug.
That's what they said, which is awesome. But I got my polar jammer. So I've been dying for this. So Jeremy makes these, which are awesome.
It's not the pinhole polar jammer.
So it's a polar jammer. It's actually really sweet. So a lot of backpackers use it. They'll use it obviously for their hands as a hand warmer. A lot of hammockers use it. They'll put it, on their ridge line for there, and they can, put all their electronics kind of stuff in through the packet.
And the other cool thing about this, at nighttime, when you're going to sleep, you're in your sleep bag, and you want to keep your Nalgene bottle warm so it doesn't freeze, so you have some water to cook in the morning. This is like your game changer for that. So thank you to Jerry for that. Also for every polar jammer that he sells, there's a donation that goes to a foundation called Love Like Jonathan, which is his nephew that passed away. Yes.
The other is to thank Mark from Sloan's Adventures. He gave us a table. We were just talking about, we need a little outdoor table, and he was like, "Here you go." Stop it. So thank you, Mark, for that. That was outstanding.
That was totally awesome. I was like,
I know. And we had never met Mark before.
No.
Another one that we'd met online only But Tanya Browning, who is in the house tonight, she makes soap. And if they're called, I don't want to get them wrong. I think it's maple water.
Says right on there.
What is it? The maple soap company.
Water soap company.
So she made some soap. So we're so happy. Oh yeah,
they
super awesome
yummy.
To try these.
This
so thank you, Tanya,
citrus
for those.
Embers. What's that one?
This one is the lemongrass, and the other one is campfires and cat holes.
Oh yes,
which is the signature.
The signature.
Yeah. So excited for that. So Tanya, thank you, and we got a sticker from you. So we love that. Here we go.
Also, Mr. Nick from Smoky Bees Natural,
which was a backcountry bro on here with his friends.
Yes,
with Chad and Samuel.
We got some raw honey from this stuff. Is delicious.
So excited for this.
This stuff is so raw.
Oh, we've been into it.
Does not.
We've been into it already. Like seriously.
Oh, yeah.
So excited for that. So Nick,
someone's been taking spoonfuls.
The one thing that we didn't do is So Nick showed up in a VW van,
which is awesome.
Which is really sweet.
We didn't get to tour.
We did not do the tour of it, but he just posted a video of it as well as Who's Your Outdoors. Your Outdoors just posted one as well. So that was really cool.
Check that video. It's pretty cool. I mean, if you guys, anyone who loves a VW bus camper style, man, this thing is the bomb.
I agree. So excited for that. The other is, I'm going to say the biggest surprise of the weekend was this girl right here.
Oh, yes.
Stop it.
Girl plus dog.
Yeah. So Details was here.
You kind of see some of it, but it's green, black. Green. It's got bones. It's got tents on it, but we got a leash.
So Girl plus Dog, which is Details. So we got to meet her. So Patty Hay, she brought her son, her and backcountry champion son, Augie.
The better half of that outside comfort
I'm telling you, he is the star of the show. Augie is so Augie? Stinking cute. I can't even handle it.
Pudgy cheeks, you just want to pinch.
Anyway, so Girl plus Dog also has these awesome leashes and collars, right?
That she makes
on her website. So ready to go for that. So make sure you check those out as well.
Double stitch.
The other is I had never been I've driven through Kentucky, but never really been there. Apparently there's a little dish called burgoo.
Oh, yeah.
And never heard of that. So
not till
Gary, who was
last weekend,
another invite to the Indiana meetup, made burgoo, which quick rundown has to consist of 3 meats, and there's all these vegetables and all the cans and everything you have in the house. The one rule is, what's the rule?
So if you want to eat, you got to stir the pot.
Yes. So come on, you can't tell me that's not amazing.
Oh, and it's in this huge
yes
cauldron. I mean, the cauldron is probably big as my dining room table.
Yeah. So excited for that.
That was it was delicious, and there was so much left over. He gave leftovers to everybody at camp.
And he vacuum sealed it.
And he vacuum sealed it, which was awesome.
So we actually ours is in the freezer, and we're gonna pull it out.
We're gonna dehydrate it for our hike on the Superior Trail.
Yes.
So that's gonna be so it's gonna be kind of cold and damp out there, being right next to the Lake Superior.
I'm so excited.
So this will be a nice, warm, comforty kind of thing, and it'll bring back some memories.
It's gonna be such a great time.
So
excited for that.
Yeah.
So we got lots of fun stickers from other people as well. But we just want to kind of share what we got here. But yeah. Oh, and we got to meet Keith, the trail med again. We did a walkthrough of his van, so you're gonna see that coming up. When we do the video, which was really, really cool. The other is, if you want to hear more Indiana stories, which I'm sure there will be more this Wednesday, we're gonna be on campfires and cat holes.
Yeah, next week Wednesday.
Well, this Wednesday coming, so the May 10th.
May 10th.
Yeah, so we're gonna be on that. So excited for that.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, obviously today is May the 4th.
It's Star Wars Day.
It's called Star Wars Day?
It's Star Wars Day.
So tomorrow obviously is
Cinco de Mayo.
Oh, stop it.
Cinco de Smackdown.
Yeah, it is. So everyone hopefully you've watched our little video on our little, like John said, our little Smackdown, our little KK versus Live Today Wonderland. We have a cook-off coming up. Well, we're going to actually do it on Saturday, but the thing is Cinco de Mayo. So and we have special judges. So we have our level Overland. So they're going to be our special judges with another couple who's going to show up as well for our camp spot. So excited for this.
Hopefully we get a camp spot.
I know it's going to be beautiful weather. So I'm hoping no one wants to go all dispersed camping on us, right?
I know.
So
we're leaving early in the morning tomorrow.
Right. So we are excited to see that, which is going to be fun.
Yep.
Also this Sunday, Jeremy from All Things Outdoors, he has a live stream at 7 p.m. our Eastern Standard Time catch that. He has Ed Sheeran on there. So fun would be really cool. So we have that, which is great. And I think we're ready to go. We are a backcountry couple. We're looking for backcountry couples
for season 3,
which is awesome. We're going to start the end of October. If you know a backcountry couple who loves adventuring together and creating memories together, shoot us a little email. Okay. So I think that'd be really great to find out who you know. Maybe we've missed some people. We've had some people reach out already, which is really awesome. So yeah, if it just, maybe in the summertime, you run across somebody, go, hey, just make sure you keep in touch and, shoot us an email, or you can even DM us on like Instagram or whatever too. So that is no problem, because we're looking forward to season 3. Like I just can't even imagine.
Whoa.
What?
Slow your roll.
We still have season 2.
We have season 2 yet, and we have all summer.
I know, so that is true.
Back the truck up, woman.
I get so excited, not lying. So,
anyways, but
what do you want to do?
We need to always and forever be thankful for our sponsor of the show.
We do. You can't even do it.
I can't do it because I got a different background.
He's so funny. Mickwick. Right here. We'll do your hat. We'll do your hat, honey. So we got Mickwick.
Mickwick fire starters. Right. So, yes, Patrick and his team that make an awesome fire starter product that's waterproof. All natural products. Yes. Burns up to 20 minutes.
They do.
Will start snow-covered wood.
It does.
Not 3-foot logs, but it'll start, substantial amount of wood.
Yeah. And I think what's been beautiful is that Mickwick has been a great supporter of the show.
Yes.
And they have actually created these beautiful little,
a great supporter of all the events we've attended.
That's true too. But they've created these beautiful little thank you gifts, for everybody who's popped on the show and, kind of given their time. So we appreciate that very, very much. Thank you.
So y'all go to mickwickfires.com if you want to get any fire starters, swag, or lightly smoked applewood coffee beans.
Yeah, a little taste of campfire, honey.
Yes.
And I was drinking that all weekend.
You were.
And it was delicious. Like, not
totally.
Lying. It was so
I believe still as at the moment, if you do place an order, you do get one complimentary 3-ounce package, which is this size right here.
We do.
With your order.
Right.
And of course, with your order, if you use the word KeelQuest at the checkout, you will get 15% off.
Yes. So please do that. It makes sense to share it out for sure.
1,000%.
It does. So the other thing I wanted to say too is last week, right? Make sure you catch the rewind. We had Stacy and Vince from 2 weeks in a hammock.
Great couple up north.
Oh my God. And not even just a great couple up north. Like, we've already planned a trip with them. So they were so excited about sharing their North Manitou, information and all that kind of stuff. We were just like, we gotta go.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
I know I did.
Let me get to
it's
say
because
it.
You know why? I love you. Tell me you know. Anyways.
Maybe. Hi, Mom.
Right. So so super, super excited to go check those guys out. But we are already planning the trip to North Manitou. But yeah, watch the rewind. So we're going there in a month with them. So excited for that. Honey. The other is if you
because this stuff's sweet.
Where you got? Yeah, it is. It's pretty awesome, which is great. So anyways, we got lots of people in the chat. Excited for that. Let's say hi, honey. Who do we got in here?
Uno momento, por favor.
Oh, look at you. You're getting all ready for the Cinco de Mayo Smackdown.
Okay.
I like it.
First and foremost, we got the infamous Doc Watson.
We do.
Oh, yeah. In the outside is here. Hello. Of course, Tanya Browning's here. Super good camping. Hey,
in the outside. Oh, that's Rob. I'm like, I forgot that was your channel, Rob.
Relax.
He's Ontario camping couple. I forgot.
Hey, Tim, let me know how's the sound?
Oh yeah, give us.
We did the one little tip to see how it works out.
Yeah, we're trying to improve it a little bit.
Texas Hikeaholics are here. Hello.
Well, hey, Barbara and Craig. Nice to see you.
Troy's here.
Hello. It's been a minute to see you too.
It has been. SB Raven.
James is on his lunch break. Hey, buddy.
My mom's here.
Hi, Mom.
Hike with Mike.
Mike, hello.
Oh, Sloan's Wilderness.
Mark, we met. I don't know if you mentioned, if you heard it on, we already mentioned you.
Right.
So thank you for the table.
Zone 58 Adventures.
Hello.
What happened?
Would you forget? They got Carlson's in the house, Brian. So hey,
yeah, Carlson's here.
Tanya.
The other half of that hiking guy.
I hope we didn't forget anybody because I feel like your computer went really, really fast. That's awesome. So hi. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Also, tonight we are doing a giveaway.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna show you we're gonna win. So we're gonna do.
No, it should be like a surprise.
No surprise. Everybody needs to know. So, Doc, I know you have a lot of stuff.
What, you're gonna give away your lipstick?
I'm not. No. Are you ready for this? So it's a Mickwick KK giveaway. So we got. We're doing. You're gonna get
a black out camouflage.
Yep.
hat.
So like John's hat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Really, and it's mesh, so it's
a flex fit. What do you call it?
It's flex fit, and it's very comfortable and great in the summer.
Yep. Awesome. And then we've got
you can't see them, honey.
We got the KK
Keel Quest
Mickwick. So those are made for us. We have the Canada USA one. We are going to give away some of the small apple
3 ounce packages of coffee, a free camping journal. Kind of see it. Oh,
I'm sorry. Excuse me. It was coming up. You can kind of see it. That's our camping logbook and journal that we made, and that's just kind of when you get to your favorite campsite, you can check it out and mark it down. And a couple stickers. We got a Mickwick sticker and a KK sticker. So, how are we gonna do the giveaway, my dear?
I'll come up with some weird random word, and you'll just put it in the chat, and I'll just pick it, and that's what we'll roll with.
Okay, then I feel like that's what we should. Or
I'll just say guess a number between 1 and 100, and closest one wins.
No, that's ridiculous. Well, but anyways,
it's always fun.
I'm excited. So it's already 17 minutes in. I am so excited.
But I have to have one quick thing. I have something on the stove that is super critical to this weekend. So if the timer goes off in the middle of the show, don't get upset. I gotta take care of it.
Right. So
it'll only take me a minute. But anyways.
And we didn't really elaborate on the Cinco de Mayo thing. So this weekend we are doing
I didn't know we were going to.
I think we're just gonna say that we are doing a little bit of a cook-off with Live Today Wonderland.
A little bit.
Yeah. Excited for that. It's going to be a good day. We've got a cocktail, appetizer, an entree, and dessert, right? So we are bringing our game. Just saying.
It's going to be a breeze. Colleen's doing the cocktail and dessert. I have the appetizer and main course.
Let's go. All right, let's get into our show, honey.
All right.
I'm excited.
About damn time. Let's go.
I know. Are you ready? So, wait a minute. What's going on? Oh, he's changing the background now. Oh, Star Wars is over?
Well, I guess I can leave Star Wars.
No, you should put. I'll leave it up. Leave it. I like the Star Wars. Do it, you guys. I would
pay $1 million to ride in that cockpit.
Or maybe
I'll take out a lot of. I don't care.
Entrance to where is it at? Disney World. Anyways,
I want to sleep in it. I want to sleep in it. I don't
That's
care.
Fine. You can. We'll
it's
do
only
it.
$7,000.
That's fine. I'll write you a check.
Thanks. I'm gone. See ya.
So excited to have everybody here tonight. We are so pumped. First of all, this is our last show of season 2. We're not pumped about that, but we are excited because this is a couple that we had met a couple months ago, and I'm so happy to chat with them.
We are so happy we took the stairs. Just saying.
Yeah, that's the moral to the story, everybody. But are you ready for this? Here we go.
All right.
John and LaNae are the first couple to kayak the 1,600-mile source-to-sea journey from the headwaters of the Wabash River to the Gulf of Mexico. LaNae is an avid gardener and uses food hunted and grown on their property to dehydrate and vacuum pack healthy and affordable adventure meals. I love that. LaNae has gone on to write the first of multiple books about their adventures. Together, they have train hopped, which I love, through the interior Canadian wilderness, paddled the big waters of Lake Huron, and kayaked in the Arctic. After completion of their source-to-sea kayak trip, the couple developed their 32-acre property in a federal wildlife habitat program and gave away many of their belongings and built a small 750-square-foot home where they now live and work.
I'm jealous.
So welcome from separate boats, John and LaNae.
Hey guys.
Hey. Good to see you guys.
To see you.
So awesome for you guys to come on the show tonight.
Well, thanks for having us, and thanks for taking the stairs at the hotel. You know,
that's one of the things we always say, right? We always try to go. How do we meet? How do we meet our couple?
You want to meet like-minded people. You hang out places where those people would be, and they're not in the elevator. They're hiking up down the stairs with a I
don't know if it was a Subaru like a Catalyst too, because we took the stairs, and it's like, is that your Subaru?
And then there was the Subaru conversation that we had, but I mean. And then we just started chatting, right? And it was like, oh my God, you're at QES. Well, we're going to be at QES. Did I just write on you?
You just wrote on me. Thank you.
You know, you're at QES speaking, and we're like, oh my God, amazing. So, fun, right?
Yeah. Quiet Adventure Symposium, Michigan State University. Anybody that's not been to the Quiet Adventure Symposium in Lansing, Michigan.
Yeah.
First weekend in March every year. Look it up.
And the thing with you two as well, not only did we meet you in the stairs and we say, hey, we're we're speaking, you're speaking kind of thing. You guys came and found us, and you're like, what are you doing at your booth? And I'm like, I don't know, we're supposed to be at the booth, and you're like, get out of there. And
we actually did kidnap this couple and said, you got to get out of your booth. You're going to meet some people. So we hiked around the convention center and introduced them to some people we've had a fortune to meet there.
We thank you for that.
Absolutely. It was a lot, really, really
So
cool.
now next year, you don't have to stay in your booth the whole time. You can take a hike.
We know that now, but I felt so naughty and so guilty. You have no idea.
Cool.
So how did you two meet?
How did we meet?
Yes.
Well, I'll let her tell that.
Oh my. How many details do you want?
It's a short show, dear.
It's a short show. Well, this is our second marriage for both of us, and our girls were best friends through middle school and high school, but we never really talked to each other. The only time we talked, we would just call. It was before cell phones, so we would call and say, "Is my daughter there?"
You're dating us.
I know, but they can tell.
We get it.
Anyway, that was all we ever really talked to each other. Fast forward several years, and I'm divorced, and it's time for our girls to graduate from high school, and they decide they're going to have a joint party,
taco bar,
a taco
Mexican
bar.
Cinco de Mayo,
Perfect.
right? It was
You're right.
Right.
So, do you know how long it takes to brown 50 pounds of hamburger?
Tell them the whole story.
I'm sorry, I had to throw that. Go ahead.
So this is an interesting. This is kind of a stair story, I guess. I've never really thought about that.
Okay.
So I was going to college, and I had just finished my. I went to college late, and I was
adult students, 40. 39.
And I was sitting there, and John came through. He came up the stairs and came through the doors, and I said, "John Abnett, what are you doing here?" And he sat down, and that's the first time we had really talked. Our girls were planning the party together, and he said, "Didn't you want to do anything with this party?" I said, "No, her dad and stepmom aren't letting me be involved." And John said, "Well, tell you what, why we need to brown hamburgers. Why don't we do that?" It took us 3 hours to brown the hamburger.
3 hours?
Oh, well.
We were almost engaged by the time the hamburger was done brown.
Oh, yeah.
It was frozen.
See, as a perpetual bachelor.
How long were you a bachelor?
After my first marriage, 14 years. But anyhow, the point is, the hamburger was frozen, and I thought, well, I better keep it cold, right? So we had to brown 50 pounds of frozen hamburger. So that's how we met, Colleen. You asked, now you got the story.
I love it.
But it's cool that it also had included a set of stairs.
Yes,
it did. I didn't even think about that before.
Always
maybe I'll meet my third. My wives keep getting better. Maybe I'll meet my third wife on the stairs. Imagine how much better it's going to be. They'll just keep getting better.
Just shush up right there. Give them the little right. You can do
she does. She's heard that joke before, Colleen.
I'm sure. That is awesome. Yeah. Were you guys both outdoorsy growing up?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
I was always outside. Camping? Pardon?
We always camping as the kids and stuff like that?
Absolutely. Yeah. I grew up camping and outside by the creek, and I took a bicycle trip from Asheville, North Carolina up to Indiana.
When she was 16.
When I was 16. What? So yeah, I've been outside.
That's kind of what hooked me on it. When she told me that story during browning hamburger, that kind of sealed the deal. I thought, well,
you must have been like, who is this woman?
Well, and the thing is, you have to realize that John didn't date anybody. He was not going to get married. He was known as the most eligible bachelor in Bern and was never ever going to be married. Stop it. Yeah, he was never going to get married.
I enjoyed my single life, and she kind of ruined it. You know, in a good way, right?
Got it. Well, John, were you outdoorsy growing up too?
Oh yeah. I grew up in the country. You know, of course, you're child labor when you live on a farm, so you're working all the time. But every free moment, it was back in the woods or something like that. Oh yeah, I was always.
That's awesome. And then what about paddling together? Like not even together, but even did you always like kayak?
Let me tell you that story. So let me tell you, this is funny. So we did not kayak and canoe. Neither one of us ever did any of that. Okay. And so we've been married 20 years almost. So, I don't know, 20 years. Yeah, 20 years in February. So yeah.
It's nice. Congrats.
Yeah, it's nice.
So it'll be 20 in this coming February. So anyhow. So
I think it was 20 years ago today that he walked through the doors at the college. Absolutely. It was 20 years ago today.
Cheers,
no way. Oh, cheers. There you go. That's cool.
Oh, you guys are hiding your drinks. We're sitting here with a
kind of, because we're sampling we're sampling our sample drink for tomorrow.
Her son bought me a finished Oak and Eden because he's a bourbon connoisseur. Oh. And it is finished. I took the last shot out of here.
Nice.
So I love it. But what are we talking about?
Oh, well, how we got into kayaking?
Oh, yeah. So we were not kayakers or paddlers, water sports people, really. I mean, I fished all the time, but not kayaking, not paddling. And a friend of ours called one time, and there's a recycling place nearby that does plastics. And he said they have a mountain of kayaks. And he wasn't kidding. They had a mountain of kayaks. So here were these old these new kayaks that were seconds, and they had taken routers and cut holes in. This is how poopy of kayaks that we started out on. They had cut holes in the bottom. They were the shells. They were the rotomold shells. There wasn't even any seat or even the notches for your little handle ropes and stuff weren't there. It was just the shells. And they were selling these for $10 a piece. So I went and bought 2. We took those on our first trip into Canada. We took those crappy kayaks. So we've obviously upgraded over the years, but that's how we got into it, because we spent $20 and bought 2 recycle pile kayaks.
That's crazy. Well,
they floated.
They did.
Well, you
fortunately.
Fixed them.
I fixed. Yeah, I fixed them. But yeah, we're paddling some current design kayaks now and some Novacraft canoes. We've upgraded considerably.
Right. But
it's worth it. Yeah, upgrades are good.
Yeah, they are. Agreed. So I do want to ask about the trip to Canada. Like that was one of the things that you did was you did the whole like train car, like you hop on the train and you get up.
We've done 3 Canada trips.
Yeah.
Okay.
We call them end of the road trips because literally we found places. When I was a kid, my favorite thing was a Rand McNally Road Atlas. Now, anybody younger than you doesn't know what that is. But in the back, Colleen, Canada was essentially 2 pages of just white. It was just very white. And there you can see, of course, 80% of Canada lives within 30 miles or 200 miles of the American border or something like that. And
that's true. Yeah.
It was just blank with all these little roads that went up and stopped. And when I was like 14, 15, I had these marks highlighted. And we actually went to these places. We went to Lynn Lake and Reindeer Lake, which you can't drive any farther. We went to Inuvik, which took us 7 days to get there, 9,000 miles round trip on the Arctic Ocean. So it would be Canada's equivalent to Point Barrow, Alaska. It would be.
Got it. Yep.
If you're following the latitude lines around. So we drove to Inuvik, went out to Tuktoyaktuk on the Arctic Ocean on the we took that was the Dempster Highway, they call it.
The Highway,
Highway is kind of a comical term for it, but silt and rock, but it was awesome.
Right.
And so that was, and then we took the train hop trip that you mentioned into interior Ontario.
So we went to Lake Huron.
Yeah, that got us up to James Bay and the salt water up there, and so.
I want to do that trip. I'm like looking into it. I think that was so cool.
I want to put my feet in the Arctic Ocean.
We will. That
was really cool.
Yeah, done it. Piece of driftwood sitting right up there next to some some Arctic artwork we've got. Yeah, from the Arctic Ocean. The Barrett Sea, I think it's formerly called right there.
That's awesome. Another trip that you did was the Mississippi, and you broke it up into a couple little, spots kind of thing.
Well, it was a continuous trip, but it was, instead of starting at Lake Itasca and doing the Mississippi as a complete, just the Mississippi, we live real close. We're a mile from the Wabash River, which is an underrated river. It's right at about 500 miles long. And so the source is only about 30 miles from here. And we used to joke about it, that we could go anywhere in the world from our river. And so we did. The first, it's this wide when it starts. You can strap it. And so we hiked the first 18 miles.
Yep.
And then in a little town called Fort Recovery, Ohio, we put our kayaks in. We had each had our own kayak, and we kayaked the remainder of the 1,600 miles to the Gulf of Mexico. So it's the 500 miles of the Wabash where you hit the Ohio River, and then about 180 miles of the Ohio, and then we were on the Mississippi for about 1,000, something like that, 960, something like that. Okay. And we ended up on Lower South Pass Island out in the Gulf. There were actually sharks feeding along the island when we were out there. So little sharks, it's just surreal to leave the farmlands of Northwest Ohio, and 3 months later you're paddling out into the surf. It's just,
oh yeah.
And 3 days later you're back home mowing your yard. The whole thing is just inconceivable.
Well, that is true. So, but the Mississippi was something that, did you guys go and do that again or something, or just kind of broke that?
Well, what we intended to do was we were going to, of course, we came in at, where the Ohio meets the Mississippi. So we missed about what? 1,200 miles of what they call the upper Mississippi. So we were going to do that. Well, then COVID struck and my business was crazy good, which is a good thing. Okay. So after 2 years of, she had all the meals prepared, and she's a rock star. That's why we do most of the speaking at places, because people keep having her back to these standing room only about her dehydrated meals. But
we're going to talk about that for sure.
Yeah. So she had all the meals prepped, and for 2 years we kept canceling, and finally we just punted and said this ain't going to happen. And then it was a drought the year we did do it last spring.
Really?
2021.
September. So in September 2021, we were going to launch at Lake Itasca and just do about 10 days. Well, that didn't work. So we had to launch down near Minneapolis, St. Paul, just above Minneapolis, St. Paul. Mm-hmm. And we did 10 days, 120 miles.
2 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, 2 weeks. So we got a couple weeks into the upper Mississippi, but not the upper Mississippi, where it's going through the wild rice and all that. So we're a little disappointed, but who knows? We may get back up someday. So we've still not completed the upper. But yeah, our trip was just continuous. It was nonstop for
awesome. A little bit. I do want to talk about the whole, obviously the source to sea journey. But when we met you guys, you just came back from the Okefenokee.
Nailed it.
Very good.
You said that just right.
Stop it.
Well, Gary and Linda, who we were talking about, great friends from, they've been the directors of the Quiet Adventure Symposium. It used to be the Quiet Water Symposium of Michigan State. They've been the core of that. Oh, looky there, a chickie. So that's Gary and Linda to the far edge of the screen. Yep. So chickies it's a Native American term, and I don't know that it's actually applies to that particular swamp, but regardless, there's no earth out there. There's just, even though it looks like you saw vegetation, there's no earth. Some of that peat is 15, 20 feet deep. So you're not walking on anything.
That's crazy.
So what it's a national refuge. And so that national refuge has constructed these chickies, and you can see this one actually floats. It's on pylons. It actually slides up and down. Uh-huh. And so we spent a whole week on this 400,000 acre swamp on the Georgia-Florida line. And you counted, of course, her job was apparently to count alligators. How many did you see?
We saw 120 alligators.
You did not.
Oh, they were everywhere.
70 of them were in one day.
They were everywhere.
Oh my God. So
that was so much fun.
If we'd swing the camera over just about 10 degrees, there's about an 8-footer behind Gary and Linda just sitting there with his eyes above.
Oh my God.
They were everywhere. everywhere.
So,
and they didn't bother you guys when you're in the boats?
That's
every once in a while, when we would go by, it might jump and go into the water, and that would scare you. But we weren't in any danger or anything. It just would startle you, like, oh.
They would. We had one go right into the bow of the boat, went right underneath her because it did that. It was sitting on the bank, and of course, their escape route's the water, and he just freaked out and just spun instantly and went under the boat. And we actually had one that swam along beside us for a little ways. No, they were not problematic. You just don't mess with them, and hopefully humans quit feeding them and stuff like that and acclimating them to people, which is beyond stupid.
This trip, do you have to pre-book these?
Yeah, it's very limited. So you typically won't see anybody out there. So yeah, we didn't see anybody for the entire time we were out there because they only let one person go into a section at a time.
Wow.
And so when you get near the end of the park well, then they have some tour boats that come out in the main channel and stuff like that. But when you're out in the swamp, if you book it and stay on your route, you're not going to see anybody. Most likely.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah,
that's
very limited access. Gary was, Gary, God love him. He was telling us how he was calling weeks ahead of time and trying to make this, lay out his own route. And they're like, no, that ain't happening. You're not going. You can only go so many miles a day, and we'll dictate the route. And so finally, he called at 6:55 on the day that you could first register and got us the route that he wanted. And so. God love him. Yeah, it was
really cool.
It was great.
That's really sweet. Are you guys canoers first, or are you kayakers first?
We first kayaked, and part of that was there were a couple reasons we had kayaks. One was
the first ones are $10 a piece.
Well, they were $10. Yeah, that was.
Forget those.
The reason we decided to take the kayaks down the Mississippi. One was we had never really paddled a canoe together, and our only experience with paddling a canoe wasn't positive. It was with somebody else.
It wasn't positive for us. We watched other people, and
I had very unpositive.
Oh, you had previously had an unpositive.
Yes. So it was like that's how we got our named separate boats when we were planning the trip. People would ask us, "Oh, are you going to be in the same boat?" And unanimously, we said, "No, separate boats."
That's where
that's where our tagline came in.
I love it.
Also, contingency. So my pragmatic side was like, I want 2 vehicles out there, to split the gear up and to have a rescue vehicle, and so that was the pragmatic side. I wanted contingency. Right. I want to put a little sub note in here. We love to canoe together, and we get along great. We communicate, and it's not a problem. But
Yep.
You hear that?
We get along great canoeing too. What are you talking about? Well, that's a little white water. We're gonna get some lessons. I love it.
The reason we went to a canoe when we did the upper Mississippi was because when we were going to do the entire thing, there were a lot of portages and
21 dikes and dams on the upper.
Right.
And with a kayak, you have little small packs that you tuck away, and that's a lot more difficult to portage. When you have a canoe, you have everything in big packs, and it's much easier to portage. So that's when we decided, okay, let's try a canoe, and we did it. It worked great. And one of the best things about a canoe is you actually get to experience the trip together. We could talk, where when we were in our kayaks, when you're on the Mississippi, you don't want to be close to each other because you never know when something's going to make you.
Speaking distance.
Yeah.
The rule was you got to be able to shout to the other person. But you
couldn't really have a conversation.
With the currents and stuff, you don't want to be like, in some situations, not dependent. Okay. In some situations, you don't want to be like paddling right next to somebody.
So the canoe was nice. We were able to talk to each other and to actually experience the trip together.
I like
we
that.
We default. That's a good question, guys, because we probably default to the canoe more now. We like, it's easy to throw stuff. You can just jump in and throw a big bag in, a big Bill's bag,
and you only have one boat to load on the vehicle.
It's true. It's a little bit less work. So the 1,600-mile trek, source to sea. How did you choose this trip?
Her idea.
Well,
right.
Right.
the route was kind of John's idea because he said, we, like you'd said earlier, that
we joke about
you could put anything in the Wabash and go anywhere in the world. Yeah. Well, when we were at the Quiet Water Symposium several years ago, it would have been like in 2014, we listened to a lady talk about going from Janet Moreland.
Going, a friend of ours now. We've paddled with her.
She went from the source of the Missouri River to the Gulf of Mexico by herself.
Janet's a beast. So when she goes from the source, she goes up in the mountains and skis down and then cycles along until it's deep enough to put a boat in, then puts the kayak in, and then goes 3,700 miles down the Missouri to the Mississippi. And she's since done the whole Mississippi. She's since done the whole Mississippi, and she's since done the Yukon. So, yeah, rock star Janet Moreland. And if you're out there, Janet, we love you. And we got to paddle with her. We got to paddle with her on the Mississippi years later. We got to paddle with her some. So,
okay.
But anyhow, yeah, go ahead. That was the story.
So, anyways, we saw her, and on the way home, I said, John, if she can do that by herself, what can we do together?
Yes.
And so by the time we got home, we had a route planned and we had a date set. And that's the key, is to have a date set rather than saying, someday I want to do this. So we had a date set. Yeah, exactly.
Like
so
Colleen filling up your schedule, Johnny. We already heard about that.
Oh yeah, you're full. You're done. I got him. Yeah, right. Absolutely. But I like that. So you're in the car, you're driving, date set, you're ready to go, and then the whole planning process has to start. You know what I mean?
Because process is what Canadians say. Is process. So
process starts.
No way, eh?
We're a little bit. I guess we're both a little bit of a paradox because we're spontaneous. We'll just go do crazy stuff, but we're also planners.
Right.
And so, if you saw all my spreadsheets, some people's heads would explode.
Right.
Hours and hours looking at post offices along the route, and so that's one thing that we found our trip was unique, is what we've learned is most people, about 50 units, based on the data we've collected, about 50 units do the Mississippi every year. Those units could be a couple, a single, a group, but about 50 units a year, and about 50% of those people make it. That's the data that we've picked up from Mississippi paddlers and watching some of those social media sites. So that could be inaccurate, but it's close. But what we wanted to do is be self-sufficient, and she feeds us so healthy. She also wanted us to be able to pronounce the foods we ate. So what she did is she vacuum packed and dehydrated 700 meals, including desserts. We had apple pie for dessert in the middle of nowhere on the Mississippi River, all in a little crunchy bag that we'd reconstitute. And so, I took care of the gear and the logistics, and she took care of the food. So what we did is, and I didn't think it would work, really. It worked beautifully. But what we learned was unique about our trip is most people will get a ride, have to leave their gear and get some kind of a ride into a town and go to a Walmart and buy ramen noodles or peanut butter or something like that. Well, except for our friend up here at home that was shipping our packages, we were totally self-sustained. So what we would do is I had the trip planned out as to potential drop sites, and the post office will hold your general delivery package for 20 to 30 days. So what I would do is I would say, okay, I would text my friend and get a hold of her and say, because we stacked them in our living room or garage, I gave her a credit card, I gave her a list of potential drop addresses, and I would say, Linda, send box number 12 to the Natchez, Mississippi post office, and she would carry it in town. She would send it. We'd get the Natchez, Mississippi. I'd hike into town and get my box, come back, repack the kayak, and we were off because we could hold a week at a time of food between the two kayaks.
Okay.
And so that's what we learned was very unique. And then, of course, her self-prepared meals, every time she speaks, they have to shut the door because the rooms get too full.
Well, then I also had an extra box that had extra supplies. So when we started to get low on toothpaste, I'd say, okay, put some more toothpaste in the next box.
Sure.
So we didn't have to take enough toothpaste for the entire trip. And we didn't need to go to the store to buy it. Yes. I had an extra thing that said, okay, put extra.
We called it our reservoir box. And that's exactly what would happen. She'd say, tell her to send 2 rolls of toilet paper and a pack of a tube of toothpaste.
Yeah. Yeah.
It would show up in the next food parcel. So it worked great, but we learned that was a little unique.
It is unique, but it's also very comparable to a thru hiker.
Mm-hmm.
We've heard this, yes.
Yeah. So I mean, because they're mailing their stuff off at their potential next stop when they're going to run out of food in 5 days, whatever they're going to whatever they can carry.
Kind of like
right.
This.
So
that's the source of the Wabash.
This is it. I mean, you're not climbing the mountain, but that's the source.
Right. It's in a turkey farmer's field, and this is actually wider here because this is a culvert where the natural water shed as well as a few drainage tiles come into this culvert. So this is literally the source. If you could see about 20 yards downstream, it's much smaller than that. It's 8, the day we hiked that particular day, 20 yards downstream, it was 10 inches wide.
Okay, so you just said hiked because you're not paddling this.
Right, there's nowhere to paddle. So we hiked the first 18 miles.
There you
and
go.
Then, and then launched our kayaks in Fort Recovery, Ohio, where the river was a little wider. And yeah.
Very cool. So that was important to you, was to be like, we need to start at the source, make it official.
We wanted to start at the source, and she's written her second book.
Yes,
that's the first book.
I got
the first one.
This is the first one, and her second book is her second one's at the publishers. So she didn't think people would buy 1,000-page book, so she broke it into 2 because this was 460 pages.
And I'm guilty of not buying it yet, but it'll be the summer read, definitely.
You can buy it on Amazon, but
if you buy it through us, you get an autographed copy.
100%. I need an autograph.
No. We're just going to drive down there and get one.
Oh, he says, can we drive down? Can we drive down, pay cash?
Yeah, on our website, there's a place to buy the book.
Yeah,
so if you buy
separate boats website. Okay. Yeah, you can buy the book, and you'll get it's a little bit nicer quality paper too than the one from Amazon. But either way, whatever's easiest for people.
That is so good.
That's awesome.
So, and I do want to talk about all that fun stuff that you got going on too. But yeah, I mean, you committed. You're doing the kayaks. You got the boats. You got the gear. I mean, there's some stuff to get involved in. You know what I mean? Like to get that started, right? You're not using your $10 kayaks.
No.
Right.
No, and
using something like this.
Somebody's been on the website doing the research. So that was our life for 3 months.
So it's interesting to see that because there's 2 ways to look at that picture.
Okay.
One, you look at that. How in the world is all of that going to fit into those kayaks?
That's what I always say. Yes.
John packed and repacked and actually made a map. So that way he knew where everything had to be. He put the kayaks on dowel rods to make sure that they were going to be stable. But also another way to look at that.
Check the weight of the load. Yeah.
Yeah. Another way to look at that is that's all you're going to live on for 3.5 months. That's all you're going to. I mean, and the thing is, we needed everything we had, and we had everything we needed, and that's part of what prompted us to get rid of our things and make a small house.
Right.
Because we didn't need all the stuff that was in a big house.
You're looking at 35 square feet, and we lived for 3 months out of 35 square feet.
So if you can live with that little, we definitely didn't need as much as we had. So that was the trip was definitely our life before trip and after trip, and
that is amazing.
It definitely changed things.
Let me just say something. We've been on a couple other events.
Sure.
You guys have done the most research and are the most professional of anybody we've watched do this. I'm just shocked. You're pulling up pictures that are inspiring, that are bringing back nostalgia to us because I don't see these pictures every day. So a shout out to you guys in your
thank you.
This is the home run.
Well, I tell you what,
this is the hound right here.
Home run.
Thank you. I always feel that I know that we have a connection with people, right? And we did instantly when we met you. And I'm always drawn, and we're both drawn to learn.
It should be like a novel, The Staircase Walkers, or something. like a Stephen King book.
Right. So the other thing you kind of touched on before too was the food. So when we go backpacking or when we go on a week trip and we're canoeing, whatever it looks like, food is a big deal. And I'm like you. So I am the food person. John is the gear person. Mostly, right? Obviously we'll overlap a little bit, but there's a lot that time frame and those food caches and getting ready, and then there's trail magic, and then there's trail angels, but you can't count on that kind of stuff. right? Like that's just like a ta-da if that happens. You enlisted help. Like you got like friends and family, and you're packing food for this length of time. You know what I mean? How do you say, hey, I'm gonna pack 300 breakfasts right now? You know what I mean?
You guys are amazing. For anybody watching, we were talking about, man, we probably should have some pictures or some food up here. Why? Cool Quest has got it all researched for us. That's in the
a lot of food.
Yeah,
that's a lot of food.
Yeah, there you can see she's actually laying out food by weeks, and the recipes are in the bag. And
yeah.
Right. So how much food did you carry?
We could carry a week's worth at a time.
1 week. So you were always stopping, or you're always having your food at a post office, depending on your mileage.
And keep in mind, what's a misnomer to anybody that's not experienced it is, once you get to the Mississippi River, there's nothing there. One person asked us, and it's not a dumb question. I didn't used to know, but someone said, "Well, were you going to stay at a hotel?" I'm like, "Hotel?" There was, I think, in 1,000 miles of the Mississippi River, we went under 9 bridges.
Wow.
9. There's nothing out there. The levee is miles away from the river, so of course there's nothing in between. It's just there's nothing out there. So you're trying to figure out, well, can I be at a town in a week? And it just happened to work out. Greenville, Natchez, Memphis. There's you just worked out that at our pace, about every week we'd hit one of these towns, and okay.
Did you have any trail magic?
Oh yeah, we had most of it on the Wabash, because then the towns and stuff are right there on the river,
friends and we already knew.
And but once you get to the Mississippi, like John said, there just isn't anything there. So we really didn't have nearly as much on the Mississippi, because most of the time we were staying on islands in the middle of the river, and on beaches on the side until it flooded. And then when it flooded, it was a little bit different story. It was much harder to find some place to stay. And one day, John said, just be prepared. You're going to have to probably put your bug suit on, and we'll tie the kayaks to a tree.
We'll probably pull into the willows and sleep in our boats.
We didn't have to, but that was definitely something that was in the back of our mind, because there were a couple of times we just didn't think we were going to find some place to stay.
The late part of our trip, there was flooding. To LaNae's point, and so,
it was flooded up to the levee.
Yeah, so one day,
so we were paddling through the trees and stuff. It was
wow.
It was totally different.
To get to the levee. So one day we stayed on a piece of batture, which is a little strip between the levee and the water.
Okay.
And it was 5 yards wide. And we actually paddled upstream about 5 miles. If you want to paddle upstream on the Mississippi, well. Okay. Yeah, you won't like it. So we paddled upstream because we just could not find a place to get off. And fortunately, we found a little piece of batture to get on. But yeah, at the end of our trip, it was very difficult to find places the sandbars were gone, the shoals were gone, the beaches were gone. The water had flooded through the trees and clear to the levee. So yeah, that made it interesting. But anyhow, it all worked out. And
we made it. We're here.
Sure, yeah. Yay.
Yeah, clearly. Yeah.
Dude, and then that's big water. It's not like the ocean. It's not, but it's big water, big. Right? Huge. And then, one of the things that we were like, we're looking and watching that kind of stuff.
Like almost over. It's over a quarter mile wide. Isn't it?
Oh, it's over 2 miles. It's 2 miles wide in some places. Yeah. It's much more than a quarter now. Crazy. Yeah. Like the tankers. Yeah. It probably averages a mile wide. Once you get on the Mississippi below. What was the first town in Kentucky there? And doesn't matter. Once you get under the Ohio River down below the first town there in Kentucky,
you had some weird stuff in the water. Like, I don't think you can see this.
That's on the Wabash. That's whenever the carps are flying.
People can see to the edge of the screen. That's flying carp. Asian carp. They're not flying carp, but they're soaring through the water.
Oh my gosh!
So funny story here.
Yes.
This is a little side channel, and we were going to pull into here. And of course, I knew we were experiencing the carp, and they love the shallow waters like this. So I actually shot ahead, which is unusual. She wondered where I was going. and jumped out of my kayak just so I could have my camera rolling. And I think I've got a little video of this too.
Yeah, I was squealing.
And she squeals because these carp come flying across the bow of her boat.
Yeah.
So I was a bad person. I actually shot ahead just so I could get out and I knew these carp would be jumping in this.
Well, and before the carp showed up, we didn't usually have our skirts on the
spray skirts.
The spray skirts.
Oh yeah.
As soon as they started to show up, we had our spray skirts on every time, so we wouldn't have a carp riding with us.
That is crazy.
Oh my god.
That is crazy.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, what the
We're
heck?
like, what is going on? We're like, we forgot about those. Like, that's
just
wild.
Yeah,
go down and hold the net up, man.
Yeah,
I know. The bus here because now you're going to remind her of the day that I got to shore in a hurry just so I could.
Well, you were the first one that experienced them, and you did squeal like a schoolgirl.
I squealed like a schoolgirl the
That's
first time one jumped across my bow. Yeah,
Right.
just flying past your face.
Right.
And
Yeah,
then you guys came across these.
So tell us.
Oh, that's on the upper Mississippi. No, that's on the
That's
Ohio.
on the Ohio.
Tell us
Yeah,
about the
Washington.
locks.
Oh, those are so fun.
They're so fun. Piece of cake.
Are you
So
sure?
one lock we get to the people running the lock, and it's not their fault. They just are unaware. But apparently their boss had said, well, no more paddle crafts can come through. We have to take them around on a tow motor. You
Oh.
want to talk about something dangerous. There's no place to clamber out up these riprap makeshift banks. And then they put our kayak with everything we owned on a tow motor.
Not hooked. It wasn't. Even
Oh
hooked
my
on.
gosh, it was awful. It was so anyhow. If anybody is working for the Corps or out there right now that works for a lock, let the people paddle through.
much
It's a piece of cake. It's actually fun.
Oh,
It's
that's
so
really
fun.
cool.
So it's so cool because this one they didn't give us, but most of them they give you a rope to hold on to.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden you hear this door.
Those are
Close
doors.
behind you.
That's a pair of doors at the end, the exit doors.
Yeah.
I think what you're seeing here, we had just come up like 22 feet and we're getting ready to paddle
so
out.
cool.
But you can hear the doors slam behind you, and you're in this thing, and then the water will either go up or down.
It's like a big
depending
toilet flushing. It's like, you're expecting the tidy bowl man to come.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, we
Yeah,
have this.
you hear the water start to go, and it actually does make a noise, and you just keep holding, and you move your hand on the rope as you go down, and then when that's done, then the doors will open and they release you.
And follow the rules and hold the rope. But again, the rope is, if you let go of the rope, I just want to downplay it. It's not a crazy.
It's just fun.
It's not a crazy, scary thing. It's like the alligators of Okefenokee. Yeah, you can dramatize it and make it sound like you're all going to get eaten by alligators, but you know what? They're just big lizards. Leave them alone. Don't mess with them. Stay out of their way.
But I mean, I know like we can go up to the Sioux and we can paddle like the Sioux locks.
Sure.
I know they let you do that. So I mean, that's something we should look into.
It's fun.
So where you're out at the Sioux, we've been on Drummond Island and paddled into. So they call it the St. Mary's River that swings up between Drummond Island and goes around and then in through the Sioux. It doesn't seem like a river because it's part of Lake Huron, but you get the point. And so we've actually been out on some of those islands, looking for wrecks off of Drummond, and we were over towards the St. Mary's River. It had been a long paddle up to the Sioux, but where we were at, we could have paddled to the Sioux. So
that's
crazy.
Cool.
That'd be a cool trip.
We got a question in the chat here from Hike with Mike.
Hello,
question
Hike.
is, was it difficult being on the Mississippi with large boats and heavy traffic near the cities?
Yeah. It was interesting because you're little to them and they really don't know where you are. See the big boats.
That would have been
those are
just
big boats.
let me interject. That's Baton Rouge or below because the seagoing ships are not above Baton Rouge. So just a little for your audience. So I know by this picture we were at least at Baton Rouge, because they don't go north because
It's
north
enough.
of there they dredge it like 80 feet. Here it's dredged 200 feet deep. So it's
Wow.
Yeah. So go ahead.
Yeah, and when you get into the harbors, the probably one of the most scary things are the harbor tows because they just pop out and you don't know where they are.
They're little bitty 800 horsepower things that shoot everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And they will move the barges around so that they can hook onto the towboats.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all of a sudden they're there and they go fast and they make a huge wake, a much larger wake than the boats do. And when you get into the harbor,
crazy.
When you go through a harbor, okay, the big boats, when you go through the harbor, then you have, not only do you have the harbor tows just going all over the place.
Tow means towboats.
And you have the big boats around, and then you have all these waves that are going everywhere. It's just almost like trying to paddle through a washing machine.
Yeah, there's no more directional trying to hit a wave head on. I mean, you do your best. But yeah, to LaNae's point, and when she says go through a harbor, you don't leave the river. It's just where the cities are. So like Baton Rouge is an industrial. So it's, think about it like paddling down the interstate. You're on a commercial boulevard.
I like that.
And the key is, we listen to some people that really irritate us when they talk about their frustration with the towboat drivers, the ocean ship drivers. Seriously, these guys and gals have miles to try to turn these beasts. An 8x7 is a 45 barge towboat that's 13,000 horsepower and 3 screws. And those are little compared to the ocean ship you just saw, but they're common. And then the little harbor tows that do all the fleeting and connect the barges to the towboats, to the through tows, like LaNae was describing. You're driving through like a manufacturing facility with tow motors running around. It's the same kind of idea. Wow. And you need to stay out of their way. We had a VHF radio. We didn't reach out unless we had to. I didn't want to bother them, but I would reach out in the radio and announce where we were. And say, hey, I'd see a name on a boat, and I'd call it out, and I'd say, hey, I see steam behind you or smoke. Who's coming up behind you? I want to make sure they know we're here. And we'd say, do you want me on your right? They'd say 1 bell or 2 bells, or on the ones, on the twos. It's a terminology they use. But we would, if anybody does something like this, bright collars, be respectful. They have a job to do. That you're simply in their way, and they cannot avoid you. The bigger ones cannot avoid you.
Sure.
You need to be diligent and watch where you're going. But yeah, VHF radio. We had a couple of them after they said, "What the H are you doing out here?" We had a couple of them then that would enjoy a conversation with us and say, "Well, we really appreciate your
bright collars,
judicious use of the radio, your bright collars."
Yes.
Letting us know where you're at, asking us how do you want us on the left or on the right. They appreciated it. So.
That's amazing. Incredible. And then you make it. You headed the Gulf of Mexico. You're there. You did it.
She cried like a baby.
I did. It was one of those things that was, we did it, after a year's worth of planning, and we did it, and it was over. I mean, because just like that. But then again, it was so sad because it was over.
Right.
Our living on the river became our way of life. That was my home. My dreams were river dreams. I would dream about that. That was my home. That was my life. That was my normal.
I'm going to cry right now.
And that was so sad to know that was over. I didn't want to go back to society. I wanted to stay on the river. I did not want to go back to society, to the hustle and the bustle and the noise and all that stuff. And so that was very hard. And it was hard to come back. It was extremely hard because you just don't realize how noisy things are and how bright things are. All of a sudden the
weather on the we got a hotel one night and we turned it on and the weather was on and I'm like, we couldn't run to the button quick enough. The hyperbole about a rainstorm. Holy crap.
Because all we heard was just on the VHF. Where it was very, it was just very monotone. Sure. And you just had monotone. It told you what it was, and that was it. You didn't have any of the other stuff. And then we get back here, and there's billboards everywhere, and I was really ready to go back to where it was simple. The river the life on the river was hard. It was extremely hard. But it was simple. Focus. And John and I we both had the same goal the entire time, was to live. We didn't know where we were going to stay the next night. And then we get back here and John's going off to work and I'm doing and then all of a sudden our goals have just changed.
Right.
And so it was very difficult to come back, extremely difficult.
I heard a term one time, you guys probably can help me out on it. It's like, hikers off the trail depression or something like that.
100%.
And so I don't want to give hyperbole to it, but I'm telling you, the first couple of weeks, we both struggled a little bit. We went to church on a Sunday, 2 days after we were back, and all of a sudden she's just shaking, sobbing, for no reason. We just got there. She's bawling like a baby. And I think it was just too much.
Too many people.
It was just overwhelming.
Too many people.
And one day I was mowing my lawn, and we had a 3-acre country home, and I was mowing my lawn, and believe it or not, I got claustrophobic. I just got almost panicky. And so we went through a period. Again, I don't want to make it sound like hyperbole, but we went through a period that was really difficult to readjust to the structure. We had a very strict routine and structure that we did every day, but it was our routine and our structure. We weren't being shepherded by society's expectations and requirements.
It's so true. And you were saying,
keep talking. I gotta take care of my dish.
And you were on a long journey. We feel that way when we even go on a week, right?
Well, I get it.
And I mean, I can't imagine your conversation you had for this long journey together. When we are gone a week together, it's just incredible. It's just nonstop. It's the memories. We're not as diligent as you two are for journaling everything.
No.
But I love that. How are you doing it? Are you doing it, LaNae, or John? Are you?
I do it. Yeah, I do. Once in a while, if I was really tired at night, I'd say, okay, John, it's your turn. Okay. And so then those would be the days that he would take over. And I noticed because I just got done with our book and the second book, and it's based on our journal. So when I noticed as we were getting close to the end, I thought, man, I was really getting tired because John had to do a lot more chapters. We were just like, man, I was really getting tired.
And you can also tell my chapters are shorter and less interesting because, she ponders. She'll see a bridge.
It's a different perspective. It's not any less or more. It's just the way that's just you.
Expound on the whole experience, and I'm like, okay, we woke up, we saw a bridge, we saw a fish, we ate a lunch.
That is not how you write, so you just shush. You stop right now. What do you mean? Are you like journal like in a book, or is it like iPad, or what are you guys doing at night?
I had an iPad.
Oh, you did? Okay. Mm-hmm. So I like that. That's cool. And then
I had an iPad.
And then was that your intention going into this journey? Was that you were going to write a book?
No.
Right.
My intention was, we had a website, and the intention was to put our journals on the website so people could see where we were and what we were doing. And hopefully even that later, if somebody else wanted to take a similar trip, that would give them some information and they could go back and, that kind of stuff.
People want to research like crazy about that kind of stuff, for sure.
Yeah. And I have a lot of people that research my food. A lot of people. I have a lot of hits on my food, more on our food than anything. But, when we got back, it was interesting how many people said, well, when are you going to write a book? When are you going to write a book? And I'm like,
wait a minute.
Well, let's give it a try. So that's how it came. It was not it wasn't planned ahead of time.
By the way, there is no person that we know named Edna. So if you want to know who Edna is, Edna's an enigma. You got to read the books.
See? I love it. I absolutely
we do not know anybody named Edna. So to anybody named Edna out there that we've accidentally offended, everybody says who's Edna, and our boats are not named Edna. They had names.
Sorry.
Like when we would get on the radio, we would say, "Hey, this is the boat. My boat was called Work. Hers was called Pray." And I'd say, "These are the kayaks Work and Pray. We're at mile marker 296." And so we gave our boats names, but neither one's Edna. So if you want to know who Edna is, you got to read her book.
I love it. So when we met you guys at the QAS, you had the book, which is awesome, right? And there was something else that you were sharing, and I really love this. And it's kind of hard to see, but I want you to tell us what.
Well, here, I'll go full screen.
Oh, can you go full screen? Yeah. Tell us about Live Out.
Oh, Live Out. Oh,
so okay. Live Out. So we have a brand, Live Out. Everybody knows us through our social media, which is Separate Boats. Yeah. Live Out. So I don't know where it came from, but early on we came up with a logo and we said, live outdoors, live out loud, live outrageous, live out dreams.
Right.
And one of the things, I don't know if it's on this, you can't see it on there or not, but there was a charity that we raised money for through some of our trips. I don't think it's on those banners there.
Okay.
This was a very ad hoc display. We were back in the dirt section of it. So anybody wants to go to the symposium, this is the arena. This is not the main floor. So it was a last minute thing. They said, please come and set up your display. So The main arena is huge and amazing, and it's not on dirt. So I don't want this to be the image people take away from the Quiet Adventure.
We weren't on dirt. We were good.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys were on.
Yeah,
you were in the.
yeah.
You were in the.
We were actually 2 days before that symposium. We were on the Okefenokee Swamp. So
I know.
we were. Yeah, we just showed up and said they said please come and put your display. So anyhow, Live Out is our brand.
Yeah.
You won't really see it anywhere. Find us through separate boats.
Okay.
But it means a lot to us. The mission statement of Live Out is to encourage human and nature interaction. And so can I share the screen real quick? Can I present? Does it work?
I don't know. Let's see.
I don't know.
Did that work?
No.
I didn't think so. It's because it's your podcast. But anyhow, you can see it on the things. But it's just encouraging human and nature and human interactions. That's our mission. And
it is, and that's on your website. And I love your website is like super easy to navigate. And there was a couple, and I'm gonna say there's a few things that really stood out for me. One was obviously the Live Out, obviously the LaNae's, all the food, right, and the recipes. Yeah. Those were like bang on.
Gear is great. And then good for the gearheads out there.
Yeah, and then the other section that I 100% loved was the heroes.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Tell us about the heroes. There's so many to know, so many to remember. You know what I mean? Like,
they were just people. They were people that did any little thing for us. It might have been somebody who just stopped and said hi. It could have been somebody who, there were just somebody brought us some firewood or different things like that. So that's what the heroes were.
I love it.
Mm-hmm. But they were, those were our heroes. Those were the people that just.
Sadly, we've lost some of them already since that trip.
Well, here's the inspiration.
Is that it? Let's see.
Pull it up.
Did it pull up?
Yeah, it's right there.
You guys are amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah.
Why would you take
Okay, so I feel like everybody should have this motto. This is a motto.
I don't know if you can read it.
It is. I think it's great. So everybody make sure
you can read it.
Check them out. Absolutely.
Yeah, people can take it. Your audience can take a screenshot and read through it.
That's also in the book.
It's on the web. It's on the book. It's in the book.
Well, I'll be sharing the. Yeah. I'll be sharing the website.
So look at Sarah. Who's Sarah Griffin? She just said it's an amazing.
Oh, hey, Sarah! She's a Michigan. She's another a Michigan friend of yours, or
Yeah, she's
a Michigan.
Hi, Sarah.
You got to meet Sarah. We've met her many times. Sarah, we missed you at the symposium this year. We thought you'd come by,
I don't know where Sarah's from, but Sarah, we're in Grand Rapids.
Yeah. I don't know where she's from either. But
I don't know. She might.
We've met her several times at the symposium.
And we get to get in Grand Rapids to see our friends, the directors, the previous directors. So we'll have to go to Founders and have lunch, or maybe a couple brews.
Yep.
Or we can go to our brass ring. That's a good place.
Oh yeah. It'll all be good. I'm excited for that.
But first, you're gonna come down here, so it's all a moot point. You're gonna come here first.
Oh,
we gotta get her signed copy. Come on.
We're gonna hike around the trails and
road trip.
And we do love, like we had said before. So one of our goals is we're trying to buy land in the UP. We want to go smaller as well, and we're just trying to make that happen. And exactly what you guys have done and modeled is something that we obviously want to look into further with you. Here in the U.S., people call it farm to table, right? Mm-hmm. Which
farm to table, fork to table.
So farm to fork. No, I call it field to fork.
Field to fork. That's
okay.
I
take it one step further. It's not just whatever. But you guys were nominated for an award, and you won an award.
Friendly Farmer Award. So
yes.
Yeah. Anyhow, we're very grateful. We're very grateful. We received a Hoosier Friendly Farmer Award. We got a great big metal sign, and we were brought in and presented. It's a great award. I appreciate it. It's interesting that 32 acres, people that own 32 acres of habitat that don't farm, and I'm going to get these numbers wrong, but there's 15,000 farmers in Indiana with 15 million acres of farm ground, and we get the award. come on, I want the farmers to get these awards. Step up, man, and use some good practices and let's find, the farmers have a real opportunity to, and the new generation is going to go in the right direction. I'm confident. But
our land was farmland. We did take it out of farming and
most of it was farmland.
Yeah, and
not all. Most of it, yeah.
Right.
It's all habitat and woodlot and savanna.
So the soil was in really good shape, or was it pretty depleted? The nutrients of the soil, that is.
I don't know. I never did a soil sample. That's a great question, Jonny. But our native grasses came up great, and the pollinators, and the Pheasants Forever and the U.S. Department of Agriculture actually used us as a field day here 2 years ago because they said they were out here and said, "Oh my gosh, this is like a poster child for how an environment should look." So we felt pretty good about that. So I don't know, Jonny. That's a good question. But the native grasses and the pollinators have done really well, and we're living the dream out. I'm looking out the window right now, and it's all cedars and woods and prairie grasses and a sunset. It's gorgeous.
Okay.
It's about 40 minutes south.
Where is Sarah lives in Plainville. Not very far. Thanks, Sarah.
Yep.
Sarah, you're invited. Contact us through the contact us button on our separate website.
I just love it. So what's next for you two in 2023? Like, what's happening?
Life.
I
don't know. Yeah, we don't have any dates set for anything.
No events as far as
any trips in the planning stages.
Not really.
I don't know. We've discussed different things. Maybe not so much a river trip. We've talked about different. I think what we look at is more like a way of life. We like to go try a different way of life. We've talked about maybe living on a sailboat for a while. We've talked about living.
We did it for 2 weeks. 2 years ago, we lived with a friend of ours on a sailboat for 2 weeks.
But we've talked about different things, even like going and living overseas for a year, or just different ways of life.
Sure.
Yeah, so that just to see, I
love it.
We get used to our norm. We just like to try a different norm.
We have some day paddling events or some events that, in nearby communities that are fundraisers or habitat promotional things that we support. We'll probably go paddle some of those or just day trips. But no, and my business is going really well for 2023, so I can't complain about that. But I'm busy, so we're busy. But of course, our garden's really starting to go into swing, and we put up a little more fencing today to help keep the bunnies out because they like her. They like
my spinach and my lettuce right now.
I bet.
Come away from my peas.
Oh, geez.
I'm glad y'all got warm enough weather to even start.
We were shocked.
Right, you guys are way behind us.
Way behind.
I don't know.
They still got snow up in the UP.
When we were driving, we were just like, look at all the trees. They're all popped with all the it was crazy down there.
You get up here,
but it was so nice.
Nothing.
So nice. What is the best way for people to follow you and find you and see what's going on?
I'll show you.
Oh, do it, honey.
Thanks, Jonny.
Yeah, Jonny. You guys are.
He's on the money.
You guys are on top of it. You prepared for us.
Yeah.
This is my little tidbit I can.
All right. What do we got, LaNae?
Go ahead and tell them.
We're separate boats. So we're separate boats on our website. We're separate boats on Facebook. We're separate boats on Instagram. We're separate boats on Twitter. Okay. So whatever medium you want to use, just look up separate boats and that's where you'll find us.
Okay. So
even though we canoe in the same boat a lot now, we still like the joke about we're not being in the same boat. So we still joke about separate boats.
Do not change that. I love that.
I don't know. But that's how people know us.
I mean, we love all your adventures that you've done together. Like, honestly, it's super inspiring for one.
Yes.
And
I mean, paddling up into the Arctic.
Yeah. And
that was so cool. One thing that's so cool about getting to the Arctic is you have to go on the Dempster Highway, which is 7 hours of nothing.
Highway.
Right.
Yeah. And halfway through, there's a building that is a restaurant. It's a hotel. It's a gas station.
What's it called? Something Eagle. I know we're running out of time here, but let me tell you about the gas pump.
Fine.
So we had plenty of fuel, and I had these big scepter tanks in the back of our trucks. We had extra fuel, but you don't want to use it, right? That's your emergency fuel. So there was a fuel pump there. So the fuel pump was the nozzle was on the ground. It was laying on the ground, and the pump was sitting on the ground, and there was a cord with an outlet, and you plugged it in and then pumped your gas. So there was no fancy, console with the numbers rolling up.
Sure.
You literally plugged in an actual pump and then started pumping.
Get out of here.
And part of it is actually even an airstrip.
2 minutes.
So an airstrip. So it says beware, there may be an airplane landing here. So they had the right of way.
Oh geez.
Yeah, so that was, but yeah, that's part of the adventure. It's just that Dempster Highway is just so interesting. And then it's so interesting because then you get up there, and Inuvik is actually like a normal town. I mean, they had a hospital and just all kinds of stuff. But we were there during the time when it was 24-hour sunlight.
Oh, geez.
That was interesting.
Oh yeah, you keep on driving.
It never got dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, it was
what time is it? It's 11 o'clock
at night. You go to sleep at night, and you wake up and you felt like, okay, I just took a nap. It was very difficult to sleep. Or you get up and it was like, oh, let's go to town and get something. And you get there and it was closed. And you're like, oh yeah, it's 11 o'clock at night. That's why they're closed.
Right.
Yeah, that's so crazy. Yeah. We got a question too.
Yep. So our friends Tim and Pamela.
That's
what I was going to say. That's why I stumbled over the word. Super good camping. Question: how can you afford to do a 3.5 month river trip, potentially a sailboat living trip, meaning generating an income?
We got no money. Just so you know.
Our first trip, John was working for someone else. So you just quit your job and then you come home and you save up, you quit your job, you come back and get another job. Okay. John has his own business now, so it's much more difficult. You can't just quit your job and then come back and get another one. And that's another thing that kind of impedes us from like taking another the sailboat trip would have to be in such a way that he would be able to stop in the ports and be able to do some work or different things like that. Or if you'd have to be someplace that he had internet, because he can do a lot of his stuff because he works from home here and he can do a lot of his stuff online.
Sure.
But having his own business does definitely put a damper on some of those adventure trips for 3.5 months.
That's a good question. No, I just want to make sure people understand we are not wealthy people by any stretch. And I was, so again, that's all relative, right? To much of the world, look at us. Come on. Much of the world, we're ridiculously rich. So I don't want to diminish the blessings that we all have. But relative to, context of the United States of America, we are not wealthy people. We saved a little bit of money. We were kind of living on a shoestring. You got to keep in mind, on that 3-month trip, we took $200 with us and didn't spend it.
Awesome.
We took $200 and didn't spend it all. What are you going to buy? Our food was all repaired. We had it shipped down.
Yep. No, you didn't have to buy any gasoline. We took the, and so. Yes, our expenses were actually much less while we were on.
We set up a LogMeIn account. I put my laptop at my daughter's house and her family. I told my son-in-law, make sure my laptop, reboot it, whatever, make sure it stays running. And then she would go online with the iPad when we could get connection. She'd pay our bills, like she paid some things ahead that she could. Other things she'd just go through LogMeIn and pay remotely. Access our laptop back home and pay remotely. But no, we took $200 and didn't spend it all. So we're not wealthy people, and we're not hanging off a precipice. These are things quote unquote normal people can do. We are normal people.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I want to make sure I emphasize that. Yeah, alligators and ocean ships. Yeah, I got it. Be smart, be wise, and learn what you can learn, and be safe. And there's real risks, and you can die doing this kind of stuff. But we are not those kind of people. We didn't grow up in Colorado and jumping off cliffs and stuff.
But when people say, "Oh my God, you're so lucky you did that," and I always say, that is important to us. It's work-life balance to us. Is we love spending time, and going to the movies is not our jam. You know what I mean? Like this. I'm just saying that just because you know what I mean.
Once in a while.
But that's just what we love to do.
This is why we hit it off so well, because there's certainly there's certainly a priority connection that we share, and I as little as we know you guys, we really appreciate getting to know you and want to make sure we connect more. And
thank you.
That's a given. Oh yeah, that is a given for sure. You have been so much fun. Thanks for sharing stories.
Well, you guys, like I said, that's not a platitude. You guys are professional, and you do a great job of this. And my goodness, the research, you're making us nostalgic.
Well, and I just want to go back to the thing about, what's our next move or whatever. We've created a space here, an outdoor space here that we love. We love our 32 acres. We love our cabin in the woods. We have so. Whenever we go away, I can hardly wait to get home, because what we have here is we have our outdoor space. Mm-hmm. So in some ways, that's one reason why there's not another thing maybe on the horizon, is because our life is our adventure. And where we live,
we did it on purpose.
We intentionally made a place that we would enjoy being. And so that's another reason why it's just like, we have our river life here. We created it somewhat, but with a little bit of smattering of society in there. But I'm just saying that's part of the reason that there's not maybe a big trip, because our life is our trip.
It takes effort, and but we sold our last home, our normal home, and we're able to pocket a little bit of money, and so it allowed us to build this little place. We heat with wood or coal behind us here. We cut our own wood. So we live a very inexpensive lifestyle. I mean, my business, I have global business, but our life at home is very, very minimalistic. Our neighbors are Amish, for crying out loud. Chickens wake me up in the morning. I mean, we live on a stone road. We have, our garage is bigger than our house. We gave everything away. We live a very minimalistic life, but I've never felt richer, because we work and we need money, obviously, but we don't work to pay off bills, so to speak. We work just to have cash to be able to, enjoy some simple things, and to pay the bills we do have, which are pretty minimalistic. But I would just think, debt is a ball and chain, man. And you can have a a nice, 8,000 square foot home, and there's nothing wrong with that. But for most people, that home and the 2 jet skis and the 3 vehicles and stuff, you're working for that stuff, instead of we were able to to finally shake free of that, and now our stuff lives for us. Our stuff, I don't know if you can hear the geese flying past. There's geese flying past right now, but our stuff is now our enjoyment, instead of something we have to pay for and take care of. I mean, we flipped the roles.
Absolutely, that's the best.
Well said.
Very well said.
Yes.
That's the best.
It is. I agree.
You got to come down. I'm holding you to it. You got to come
coming.
down.
Oh, don't worry.
We're coming. We're coming. I promise.
October, though, they're already booked.
Yeah, I heard
that. Now
we got some sneaky weekends left.
And it doesn't have to necessarily be a weekend. You let us know ahead of time, and if I'm not traveling, we can do a Thursday, Friday, or something. You let us, we'll make it happen. It's in your court.
Okay. We'll share some dates.
I'll go get the list off the fridge.
It's on the fridge. I'm a bit of a lister, just like you guys, but it's on the fridge.
A little bit of a lister?
I'm a big lister. I know.
There's lists all over the place.
I know. It's so good. I love it.
Here. What's this list? Oh, this is the sub list off of that list.
I might have sub lists.
Survive without a list.
I do have sub lists. That is true. I make a list.
I do too.
Yeah.
Sometimes I find her list and burn them.
You do not.
You're just joking right now.
There's been vacations. There's been like normal vacations where I have taken away her list. Yeah.
Well, don't be touching my list, John. Okay, don't go anywhere. All right, John's going to drop you down. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight and sharing your stories and meeting our people, and very exciting. So
all your people out there, hold them accountable. Keep messaging them and say, have you been down to the separate boats we call it the Dead Orchard Ranch, and you'll understand when you get
there. Okay.
I know a few in this chat.
You'll enjoy 0 apples when you're here. No apples will be provided.
Apples, that's an orchard. Okay, that's
Dead orchard. Dead orchard.
Oh,
right.
Very cool. Well, thanks very much, LaNae and John. We appreciate it. You're welcome. Don't go anywhere.
Yes.
Okay.
Hang tight.
Okay. Stop it. I'm getting the list. I'll look at the calendar.
Get your butt up there and go grab it right now.
It totally.
You gotta go.
Oh, so
I want to go see the setup.
I know we need to like hang out and find out what's going on. I just love it, love it, love it. Actually,
we can stop in Fort Wayne and get a coney on the way down.
We could do that too. We could eat Super Camping. What a wonderful couple. Thanks so much for this, you cool kids. Oh, thanks, Tim, and to John and LaNae. That is very, very, very nice. Mm-hmm. We want to do a special shout out and a special thank you for every single guest we had this season. Like we said, it's the last show, season two. Okay. And a couple things. So one is extra special thanks to Mickwick for hanging out with us for the whole season, doing this, providing our guests right with a little packets that we have. With a little thank you stuff for the show.
Right there.
They're right here, honey. We have one of these right here, so we can share those, which is amazing, as well as our events that we've been going to. So we appreciate that. So thank you very much.
1000%.
Make sure you're subscribed and make sure you hang out with us. We've got lots going on this summer. And we have quite a few trips planned, just like we had said, right up until the end of October. Make sure that
we have some sneaky weekends.
We have sneaky weekends that we can kind of use a little bit. Make sure you have a fun weekend, a safe summer. Stay in touch. I think what we're going to do is for our giveaway, we'll do a little separate something because we didn't do it when the chat was still on, honey. We kind of got away because the conversation was there.
Well, the conversation was really, really good. So it really
was.
Derail that and to do a giveaway.
Right. I thought what I'm going to do. We'll make a little video this weekend as a thank you for the season 2, and we'll do a little giveaway, and we'll say what the parameters are for that. Let's do that.
Yeah, we can do something like that.
I don't want anybody to miss out on on getting some fun stuff too. So anyways, it was awesome. Thanks so much again for a great season 2. We appreciate you sticking around and hanging out with us, the cool kids.
1000%.
Yeah.
Cool in the gang.
Right on. And may the 4th be with you.
Always.
Right on.
All right, y'all. Y'all have an excellent summer. We'll see you next time. See you on the next quest.
Yeah, you will. Cheers, guys.
Peace out, Cub Scouts.